lighten up on rules. Like, you just can't be constantly on their back, because then they don't feel like there's any trust.
Kids and growing pains, parents on one side, teens on the other. Tonight, how to bridge the generation gap so you can thrive as a family. So what is the secret? We posed that question on Facebook, and dozens of parents answered.
I'm sure they all chimed in here. Mark's joining us now to look at how they responded. All right, what'd you find out?
Well, you know, we went straight to the experts, really. The parents themselves. An entire community emerged in this arena of self-help, so to speak. Kelly McKay wrote in, time. Know who they hang out with. Then Jennifer Winkler on Facebook wrote me. She says, communication here is the key. Stay involved. Allow them their own space and identity. That's going to be important. We're going to hear more about that in a second. Eddie Artiga then chimed in and said, I raised my 3 daughters by always putting positive quotes and affirmations on the fridge, not necessarily daughters, his 3 children, by the way. We then discovered a rather compelling story of Penny and Mark Eggers. They came forward to us to share their success and hope that other parents are going to learn from their journey.
The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet.
Even in the 50s, America's golden TV couple had tips with their teenagers. The sugar-coated kind.
Well, evidently your mother and I don't have much choice. You guys seem to have made all the arrangements.
Yeah, we don't mess around, boy.
Fast forward to the 21st century and a different tone and tenor.
Mean and in your face and cussing and just totally disrespectful.
Penny and Mark Eggers' daughter, Sydney, transformed from sweet and innocent to holy terror at 13.
A light switch went on, and she became a person that we didn't know, like a Tasmanian devil.
I felt internally devalued as a parent. You know, this is my job, is to guide you and move you into adulthood.
A move that stalled in a world of distractions, cell phones and the internet, school pressure, kids trying to find out who they are.
Conventional parent, I don't think really works, because today is faster and more sophisticated and more competitive.
I thought that their rules were ridiculous.
Sydney the Rebel recently crossed the threshold, though, of change, big time. At 15, she's back to an A student after nearly flunking out. Why? Because her parents changed.
They started trusting me more and giving me more responsibility. They're like, okay, you do whatever you want in school. It's your deal, not mine. So it's just like, oh, okay.
Penny and Mark basically lightened up.
So I felt if I let her have some of that control and that experimentation, well, you know, she's going to find herself and come back full circle, and she did.
What about that one up there?
They're a tight family circle now and look back at Sydney's dark so-called emo years as a moment gone by. The Eggers credit a professional counselor who recommended this book, Yes, Your Teenager is Crazy, by Michael Bradley, which opened their eyes and their minds.
It's okay if she makes mistakes. It's okay, and I don't have to be mad at her because she makes mistakes.
And in a heartfelt note,
she left us on my pillow.
A daughter says thank you.
For always being there and being understanding. And I was like, okay, we're doing something right now.
And joining us now is psychologist Dr. Stacy Schechner. Stacy, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We just heard parents say in that story before that, at least in their case, they had to learn to really lighten up to get success with their teenagers. Is that a fair assessment? Is that really the best advice?
I would say absolutely. I think that parents today are so anxious about the competitiveness of the world that they project that anxiety onto their kids, and then their kids feel that anxiety, and I think it makes them more emotional, it makes them act out, and I think that's where parents need to lighten up.
What about those who are a little bit more strict to say, you know what, it worked for me, and if I lighten up, then my kid could get into trouble, and I don't feel bad at all about being that overbearing parent because it worked for me?
Well, I think we have to make a distinction between, yes, you need to have rules and consequences, but there doesn't need to be the screaming and the yelling, and the children don't need to fear you. You don't want your kids to fear you like we feared our parents.
Well, I guess the tricky part is most of us as parents learn very quickly, like anything. For every action, there's a reaction.
That's right.
You push, they're going to push back. So most parents do figure out that they want to give the children a little bit of rope, so to speak. But at this point, how do you know what's the difference between giving them more freedom and essentially enabling some bad behavior?
Well, you have to decide. Every family has to decide for themselves what are the values that you want to teach your children, that you want them to grow up and have. So you come up with a list of rules, a list of consequences, but then you can give a little bit of room to sit and discuss things, and I call it dumbing down the parent, kind of just talking with the kids and letting them come to some of the decisions themselves that are not going to be too harmful. I think you have to make that distinction there. What could they kind of get in trouble and it's not too terrible, and learn from the natural consequences, and what's a safety issue?
And how much are their friends, once you get into teenagers, their friends are playing a big role in this as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's where the more that you push them away from kids, the more they're going to go running to them. So the more you can just learn to empathize and talk with them, they will end up making the right decision. But if you say you cannot go to Sarah's house, you bet they're going to go.
Don't focus on much the behavior, so to speak, and exactly what they're doing. It's coming to that decision.
It's the decision making, the problem solving. So when kids act out, if you can sit and say, what's the feeling behind it, instead of just punishing and, again, making them fear you, then you'll stop the future behavior.
You make it sound so easy.
I know.
But thanks for coming, Dr. Stacy Schechter.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks very much.